I'm going to make a point on something that I just seen with Trench Grenade. And he makes a very solid, well, many solid points. For one, train how you fight. That's the same way I did when I was in 3rd Ranger Battalion. And then after I got selected into the 75th Ranger Regiment, so on and so forth with my military career. Ammunition that I use to zero my weapon. This is a 17, almost 18-inch barrel. I guarantee if I go into a situation where I know for a fact, which been there, done it too many times. I used a Glock 17. This is a Glock 47 9mm. I will trust a 5.56 or a 2.23 with, I would say, 95% of my applications or missions that I've gone on. I've used 308 too, or 308. Now, what type of rounds do I use for these? For target practice, specifically this, I will use a 115 grain ball ammo. Even sometimes I'll use, say, a 124. Some hollow points. Why? Because some do not spread out like I like. They don't fragment and create shrapnel in the body. In this right now, I have, if I recall correctly, that's a 124 grain, but underneath there, okay, 124 grain. There we go. That's a 147 grain hollow point. I don't care who you are. Getting a kill shot in the kill zone up in your chest, you will fucking drop. Even from one of these. That's a 124 grain. I believe it is a plus P if I remember correctly. Now, at 50 yards, you're going to do some serious fucking damage. Are you most likely going to get 50 yards for engagements nowadays with a pistol? Probably not. There have been some instances in the past 3 to 4 years where that has happened. I forget who the young man was, but he was concealed carrying, and he did, I think it was like 6 shots or 8 shots, whatever, at 40 yards. You don't hear much about that on the news. Or you very rarely hear that. What you do hear of, and what you're seeing not on these video games, but in my experiences, in the missions that I ran, even with this, with a 5.56, my engagements were sometimes so close they were within 2 feet of you when you engaged with a pistol. Sometimes with... What you don't want is to think you're zeroed and say your center of your scope is right here, and you think it's zero, and you take it out to say 20 yards, and now all of a sudden you run into a problem where that 20 yards is now at 150 yards. Your dot may be right here, but your shot may be up here. So now you're off center. Think about that. The shit that I use in here will stop a grown-ass man or anyone who comes at me. Even when I was fighting Taliban, Al-Qaeda, anyone like that. Or targets the government would send me after. With hollow points, I've been able to stop people that are 200 pounds, 300 pounds, and probably higher than that. I know that from first-hand experience. What I don't want is to get into a situation where I'm having to shoot long distances and have, say, 11.5-inch barrel, something like that. I always use at least a 14.5-inch barrel. So if I get in long distance confrontation, say 5, 6, 7, or 800 yards, whatever, I'm going to be able to engage with at least a 14.5-inch barrel. This is almost an 18-inch, okay? and even as Trench Grenade put it, know your weapon, make sure that thing's zeroed. If it ain't zeroed, and I would say 80% of people that own rifles, you A, don't have your weapon zero properly, you don't have your optics zero properly, and you think you know what you're doing, or B, you buy it, or wherever you get your rifle from, you fire, say, 200 rounds through it, and you think, oh, I'm a good shot now. You don't know shit. To this rifle in particular, I probably fire close to 2,000 rounds, maybe a little bit more, through this rifle. Now, did I go out and shoot today? Yes. I had a full mag. Now for the old timers, and well, hell, whatever you want to call an old timer, it'd be a clip or a stick, whatever. Tommy guns, they had sticks, what they call them. Now today, everything's a magazine or a drum magazine. A magazine's a magazine. Cut the shit. Don't get on the fucking keyboard trying to argue with me or argue with those combat veterans about something that you know nothing about or very little about, and you act like you're just the smartest person on the planet when you probably never seen a day of combat in your life. But you talk the talk. You can't walk the walk. But I will use hollow points on pretty much any, since I'm in Ohio, I mean, hell, there's been a lot of shootings that have increased very rapidly in the past, not just 6 months, but there's been shootings, stabbings, a bunch of shit going on. Have your weapon zeroed, know your weapon, field strip the damn thing, clean it, shoot again. Don't just think because you can go out and purchase a rifle, this is a Daniel Defense rifle, don't think that just because you can go out and shoot one and you go through 200, 400, 600 rounds, whatever, that you know what you're doing all of a sudden. You do not know what you're doing. A lot of the guys I see on YouTube, they're combat veterans, like myself. We've been there, done that, we put in the trigger time. Whether my weapon is suppressed or unsuppressed, that is unsuppressed. I don't unsuppress her. Why? Because one, even when you squeeze that trigger, guess what's going to happen? It's still going to make noise. Unsuppressed, boom, it's going to be a loud explosion. And you're going to be heard probably a mile away, depending on the terrain. Especially if it really echoes. Now, if you get into, let's say, a street fight with a bunch of hoodlums or gang members, whomever, and police can't help out because they're either running for their lives too or they're tied up on another call, and you're in a damn street fight, what's going to end up happening? If you don't know what you're doing, you could get, anything can happen. Oil your weapon. Make sure the freaking sight's zeroed. I'm not talking about at 20 yards or being able to hit a target that big around. Because that right there at 20 yards, sure, it's okay for close quarters. But when you're going past that 100 yards, 150 yards, 200, 300, 400 yards, this right here at 20 yards is not going to save your ass. Get out there and properly zero your rifle. And I mean pinpoint accuracy. You get good enough at it when and if you put in the trigger time on it. Know what ammunition you're shooting with. See the effects of what it's doing. I can't tell you how many rounds I would put through one of our M4s. Or even the, what do they call it, H&K 416s. I can't tell you how many rounds we put through those. We had to change barrels. We had to change a lot of shit. Tens of thousands of rounds. Probably more than that. A lot of you think you can just... even as Trench Grenade and others have said, a lot of you think you can just go out and purchase a rifle, as I said before. Zero your rifle to a certain point, and you don't actually know if it's properly zeroed. If you don't know, find a combat veteran or someone that's, say, a gunsmith, whomever, that knows what they're doing. Don't go out thinking you're all tough and shit, that you're John Wick, because you're not. And if I hurt your feelings over that, too bad. There's too many people I've seen that don't know what the fuck they're doing. All these mods and shit you can have on your rifles, everything from IR lasers to flashlights on your rifles to having all this extra shit. Think about the weight of that. What's your mission? Where are you going to? How long are you going to be there? What is get a SALU report. Size, activity, location. I forget what the other three are. Off the top of my head. You can Google it though. What else? But the amount of people that I have seen in the past year that act like they know what they're doing when they purchase a gun. They're, oh, what does this do? What does this do? What is this? Even though it says right on the tag at the gun store, say it's a 9mm. What round does it shoot? Are you serious? Look at the tag. If you do not know, and you're looking right at it, I don't understand what that is, you should not be handling a firearm. That tells me you know nothing about it. You should be being trained before you ever go purchase a gun. And you're, well, that's why I'm doing, so I can go purchase it and get trained. Well, guess you can make an exception on that. But if you go out and boom, 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 like with a pistol, and you're just shooting, and that gun's doing this, boom, 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 you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not properly training. Because just like with this rifle, know where your sights are. Line your sights up. Grip on your hand grip. Know that shit. Your trigger squeeze. Know that too. Know your trigger reset. When you're firing, and you go from doing this, boom, 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 to boom, 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 boom. You go from being all over the damn place because you think you're a hot shot to, oh wow, my round's now at, say, 20 yards with a pistol is gone from like fucking that to something like that, or maybe even a little bit bigger. Probably double that size. A lot of you YouTubers, a lot of you people on social media, just remember, everyone's an expert. Until you get into that firefight and you put your sight on your target, someone's just shooting at you, and you fire, and that optic is right dead center, say it's dead center of their head, and you're missing off to the left and high. You just screwed yourself. And a lot of you Call of Duty people that are going, well, yeah, I'm going to turn sideways and hit my target every time. No, you're not. Most of you ain't going to be able to hit a broadside of a barn. Because you didn't train. You didn't get the training. You didn't zero your weapon. You don't understand the ammunition. You don't understand the weapon in general. From green tips to, which is a 62 grain, I believe, from the green tips to even the 55 grain ball ammo. Know the ammunition and what's best for your gun to shoot through it. Figure that out. So when you zero that round, when you zero your optic, and you're hitting, say, let's just say a 3-inch spread at 100 yards, that's good. But people like me who are combat veterans, we cannot stress this enough, people. If you're getting out there on the range, wherever you're going to, and actually learning and dumping some rounds, I'm not just talking about a couple hundred, I'm talking more than that. You're dumping some rounds, getting to know that gun, and you're actually hitting where you're presenting that weapon to. And if you're all over the damn place, because it could be because your weapon ain't zeroed, it could be because you're shaking too, that's understandable. But get training. As Grand Thumb, and I think possibly Trench Grenade has said, get out there, get training. From the way things are going, no one's coming to save your ass. Hell, and if you're walking with a group of people, and here in America, if all of a sudden you have people start shooting at you, or you see something going on and you want to engage those people, what happens if those people are more conditioned than you are? You're going to get massacred. So many of you YouTubers, people on YouTube in general, think and act like they know what you're doing. And I've seen so many of you on there that don't know what you're doing. You talk a big game, and I bet you anything, if you get in a firefight, or if you're running into something like that, you're probably going to spray and pray. Hell, you might curl up in the fetal position, not knowing what to do. But that's the biggest thing that I can try to get through to you people. Don't just go out and purchase a rifle, a pistol, whatever, and act like you know what you're doing. Train. Get to know your weapon. Stray bullets kill probably more, if not close to, as much as someone that knows what they're doing and can present and pull that trigger before you can. Someone who is seasoned, they're not going to have a problem in a firefight. Someone like, I would say 80 to 85% of you, maybe 90%, that pretend like you know what you're doing, you don't. You get gunfight, what's going to end up happening? You're going to get killed. That's all it is. It's simple as that. Either way, subscribers, thank you.